informational text. We're working with the informational text. We can see our Venn diagram as well as our anchor chart. Well, with informational text, who can tell me something about what that means when I say we've been working with informational text? Informational text. Think about the American Revolution, the different things that we've been reading about Tom and John. Okay.
What you know in the text.
What you know in the text. Who can tell me something else about informational text or non-fiction text? Can you say something else about it?
It gives you like text features.
Okay, the various text features that we've been talking about.
It gives you information. Information.
Good, gives you information. The author's purpose is to what?
Inform.
The author's purpose is to inform. Well, we're going to talk about another real issue today. Because when we say nonfiction, we mean real or not fake. The NF in nonfiction, the NF in not fake. I want to talk a little bit about bullying. Anybody know what bullying is? Raise your hand if you know what bullying is. Bullying. There are various forms of bullying. Can anybody volunteer to tell me a way that a person may bully? Because there are various forms.
They call other people names.
Calling other people names.
Pushing people.
Pushing.
Like knocking them down and calling them names.
Okay.
Beat them up.
Okay.
Judging them by how their clothes look or shoes.
That's very good.
They can torture you.
Torturing. Okay.
Cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying. So would all of you agree or disagree that words, that you can bully a person with words? You agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? Agree that we can use words, okay? What about a person, if you think that this is bullying, I want you to do a thumbs up for me. Spreading rumors. Is that the same as gossiping? Could that be a form of bullying if you're saying things about someone that isn't true?
Yeah.
Could that be a form? So could I see a thumbs up if you agree with that? All right, well, I'm going to share a book with you today. I just kind of look at the picture. The name of the book is Mr. Peabody's Apples, and it's by Madonna. But before I get to this book, I want us to complete an anticipation guide. It's going to ask you a few questions, and there are no right or wrong answers on this. You're going to write either whether you agree or disagree. Write your name at the top, read the statements, and in the before reading column, I want you to write either agree or disagree. Okay, we're going to revisit those after reading, and we'll fill in the after reading column because you may change your mind or you may want to keep your responses the same. 1 and 2, come to the floor with your talking teammate. 3 and 4, move to the floor with your talking teammate. And 5, move to the floor with your talking teammate. Take a look. We know we've done several anchor charts, and today we're going to revisit an anchor chart that you all worked on with. You all worked on several weeks ago. It's about, can somebody read that title for me? Anyone? Read it for me. Anybody?
Realistic fiction.
Realistic fiction. And for realistic fiction, we have the author's purpose. Caitlin, would you read that loud and clear for us, please?
To entertain the reader, to teach a life lesson to the reader.
All right, so we're going to be entertained, and also while we're entertained, there's going to be a life lesson for us. We're going to pay attention. There's going to be characters, a setting, a problem, events leading to a solution, and then at the end, there's going to be a resolution. A problem is going to be resolved. Here's some features that we're going to look for. Ashley, what's one of the features that we're going to look for?
Tell about lives of different people, cultures.
All right. What's the next one, Stephanie?
Real world set.
A real world setting. Daniel, what about the next one?
Events could actually happen.
Events that could actually happen. Cameron?
Character can represent all types of people.
And read that last one for us.
Characters.
All right, it says a character grows during the telling of a story. That doesn't necessarily have to mean height or weight. And we may find that out in this story. I want to go back to where it says realistic fiction. What do you know about if a book is fiction? What does that mean if a book is fiction?
It's fake.
It's a fake book, but how can something be fake when it says realistic? It says realistic fiction. Can you explain that to me, for me?
Realistic means like it's real. Like animals can't talk in realistic fiction books. These realistic means real life.
Okay, so we're dealing with realistic fiction. Now let's go back to this. It says events could actually happen. Events can actually happen.
Like when the book is fake, but it can really happen.
Okay, it's a fake book, it's a made-up story, but the events can what? The events can actually happen. Well, let's take a look at this. It says Mr. Peabody's apples. And then once we finish this, before you all go to Mr. Blanchet's class, we're going to actually take a look at this author. And you all may not be familiar with her, but others in the room are familiar with her. In the town of Hatfield, which wasn't a very big town, Mr. Peabody was congratulating his Little League team on a great game. They had not won, but no one really cared because they had such a good time playing. Mr. Peabody was the history teacher. It's like, who's y'all's history or social studies teacher? He was a history teacher at the local elementary school, and in the summertime, he dedicated every Saturday to organizing baseball games with other schools. Then he would start his walk home along the main street of Hatfield, which wasn't a very big street, waving hello to everyone he knew, and everyone would wave hello back. I want to stop right there. It says he waves hello to everyone, and what did everyone else do? They waved hello back. I want to visit our inferencing chart. When we infer, what does that say at that bullet? Cherokee, read that bullet for us about inferring.
She is ill.
At the bottom under, read between the lines, right there at the bullet in green.
Figure
out something that wasn't completely explained in the message.
In the passage, okay. Well, it says that Mr. Peabody waves to everyone, and everyone waves back to him. So we're going to infer. We're going to make an inference about Mr. Peabody and about what others thought about him. We're going to turn and talk. I want you to discuss what kind of person is Mr. Peabody and how do people feel about him? Let's turn and talk. What kind of person is Mr. Peabody? How do they feel about him?
Nice.
Okay, friendly. Okay.
He was a good baseball coach.
Okay, so about waving, he's waving and everyone's waving. I've heard nice, friendly. What else?
Kindness.
Maybe kind. Okay, very good. Across the street, Tommy Tittlebottom watched with curiosity. What's curiosity mean?
Like,
Like,
did you do?
what-
Why'd you do that?
What punctuation mark goes with curiosity? If somebody's curious, what might you see or what?
Question mark.
A question mark. Mr. Peabody had not paid for his apple. They couldn't wait to tell all of their friends, who told their parents, who told their neighbors, who told their friends in the town of Hatfield, which wasn't a very big town. Uh-oh. I want us right here. We're going to stop and we are going to predict. Now, we haven't heard the end of the story, but from what we've read so far, I want us to predict how we think this story is going to end. Let's make some predictions on how we think the story will end based on what we've read so far. Just write your name and just write what you think, how the story will end. The Saturday after that, Mr. Peabody was standing all alone on the baseball field, wondering where everybody was. Where was everybody?
At the apple
home, I
stand.
guess.
Because after the kids told their parents and parents told their neighbors, they was like, he's a bad influence on y'all and I don't want y'all near him.
Y'all agree or disagree with Ashley?
Agree.
I think they don't run around him because they think he's stealing.
Okay.
I think
I
that
First,
they're going to tell their mom, and their mom are going to tell their neighbors and friends, and then they're going to call the police, and then when
He's going to get arrested.
and then when he goes over there again, the police are going to be over there right to get
This
him.
makes me wonder about Billy's feelings toward Mr. Peabody. This makes me wonder about how he views Mr. Peabody. So this brings us to point of view. I'm going to give you all a circle map, and we're going to use this in our groups. You and your talking teammate are going to work on this circle map, and I'm going to let you and your teammate quickly decide who is going to be the recorder. So I'm going to be one person using a pencil. So you and your teammate decide who's going to record. Okay, good. What you are going to do, if you look in the center, it says Billy's feelings toward Mr. Peabody. In the circle, I want you to write out how Billy feels towards Mr. Peabody. Whatever you think his feelings are, taking into consideration the picture and what I've read thus far. And then in the box, what's your evidence? Give me your evidence in the box. So we need one per group. What's he doing? What does he say? He thinks what? Very good. Very good. We're looking for one word to tell us the theme or the hidden message. Maybe more than one, but we're going to try to go with one. Let's take a vote. If you think it's compassion, raise your hand. Compassion. Somebody's suffering, you're trying to make them feel better. What about kindness? If you think that's the main thing. What about perseverance? Someone keeping on, no matter. I think the majority have chosen either honesty or responsibility. Dan, will you read what it says underneath honesty?
These books have characters who find that it is best to always tell the truth.
Somebody have to tell the truth in here? Was there, did truth play a big part in this book?
Yeah.
Played a big part. What about responsibility? Caitlin, read that for us.
These books have characters who learn to do the right thing and be responsible.
Okay, so we have honesty and responsibility. Now let's think about the book. Think about that focus on the apple and Mr. Peabody. Think about Tommy Tittlebottom, and let's choose between honesty and responsibility.